Hi guys, it's Sarah, Northwoods Stitcher. I wanted to pop on and show you one of my tools that I like to use a lot and tell you guys how to find it if you don't already have one. If you guys used a chart clip before, I love these things because I use the Q-snaps and a lot of different working frames. These fit right over the Q-snaps and the wooden frames very well. It's got wonderful range too. It is a little fragile because it's an acrylic piece. It's not metal. It can break, but it has two different elbows or hinges so you can position it in different ways. What I like to do is copy my charts, enlarge them on my copier so I can see them. And then if the if the Q-snap's too small to actually hold the pattern with a needle minder, I use the chart clip so I can see what I'm doing without having to go back and forth or a different direction. And I can just highlight and go from there. It's very handy. It's not a very heavy tool, so if you do need to add a little weight to the back of your graph, I save the backs of like notebooks and things like that. It's a thinner type of cardboard, but it does give you some stability if you need it, or you can just double up on a piece of paper in case your highlighter bleeds through. I found out that I like the green highlighters. I guess it's all in what your eyes can be comfortable with. Some people like the highlighter pink or highlighter yellow, but I have a preference for the green ones. And the other thing to look for when you're using a highlighter, get the ones that are retractable, so you can just click it with one hand so you're not dealing with a cap all the time. It's pretty handy just to be able to do a one-handed highlight rather than have to stop, take the pen off, or put something else in your mouth, which I'm guilty of, particularly with needles. Bad thing to do, but that's really handy. Now this is found on Amazon. If you do a search for chart clip, you can also find it, I think it's actually from the Yarn Tree originally, so yarntree.com, but you have to do a different kind of search. If you're going to go onto Yarn Tree, Amazon search would be chart clip, and the yarntree.com, you would have to go under accessories and notions, and then you'll find it under graph gripper. I don't see this as a graph gripper. It is. It's just a little gripper. But those are the two ways to find it. And they're under $10. I think they run between $6 and $8 depending on who you're buying it from. I've had only one break on me, and that was in shipping. Other than that, I've been pretty lucky with them. And they're just great way to position them. Remember those Rubik's snakes? It's like somebody put a clip on a Rubik's snake. Brilliant. Now, I'm going to tell you guys if you want to stop the video now, but I'm going to pick up the iPad and walk you over to where I store my floss. I don't want anybody to get nauseous from the movement. But I wanted to talk about floss collections, how I store mine. I actually keep mine, like I said, I'm up in above a garage, so I have different little attic spaces. So I have a little cubby space underneath the eaves here. And then if you twist over this way, you can see another door here. You have to bend down for that area. But on this main wall, I have a full door, which leads into the attic space that you can walk into, which leads into, and that's somewhat temperature controlled. Then it leads further into another space you can walk into that is not climate controlled and a little chilly. I've got LED lights in here. This is some of my floss. So here you see, these are only my backups. Down here, that's my bobbinated working collection. That's the full DMC collection. I prefer DMC. I have only one DMC box. I got that from Santa. Thank you. My husband bought me that for Christmas. I'm thrilled with it. So I do have some of my backups in that and labeled. But you can see, I just divided them into groupings so I can easily find something. And then here I have the complete list with how many extras I have written in pencil. And then I just mark it off when I take one out, or I mark if I've added one to the collection. It only came with one original number panel. So we made these on the computer. And you can see I keep other flosses labeled. My working ones. And I have all my Krynics and my weeks. And Gentle Arts. Thrift store extras. I purchased 2 containers from a thrift store. It's a bit of a nightmare actually, because they're all cut in 18-inch lengths and everything like that. And you can see I also have a collection of sulkies. I don't know if you guys know about sulkies or not, so we'll pull one out. Again, sorry if you guys are getting a little nauseous. Sulkies you can get on the Sulky website. They are thread on a spool, 1 strand of a 12 weight Sulky floss is equal to 2 strands of DMC. I think you can also get these at Walmart. I wait for the sale on sulky.com. So here's some sulkies. Ooh. They're really nice. They're cotton. And they're very comfortable to stitch with. So 1 strand is equal to 2 strands of a DMC thread. And I've used them for a lot of different black works that I've done, or single colored charts. They're fun to have. You can get a conversion. So if you're trying to find a sulky color that's equal to a DMC color or vice versa, there are some conversion charts, I think, on the Sulky website. Because the other thing I like to collect, I'm always in fear that there'll be some storm and I won't be able to get out, but it's never happened. What if you run out of that one color? That one color. I like floss cones. So I've collected these either from different needlework shops, or I found some actually from a needlework shop that was closing years ago. So I've got some different sized ones. I'll show you those. But this actually has the number inside. This cone, I believe, came from JoannFabrics.com. Don't have much to say about ordering from them online. But when they do have a sale and they do have their cones available, it's really great to get a couple of these because you can get these at an affordable price. You can also order DMC cones from DMC. They do have a limited number available. And it's handy. I mean, I'm working on a long dog. I shouldn't say I'm working on it. It's kitted. I haven't started it. I haven't put a stitch in yet. But I'm going to do it. I think it's in the green. It might be in the blue. I'm going to do it all in this. I call this a Wedgwood green, but it's actually DMC 3346. So let me take you over to my other thread collection, which is the wooden DMC chest, which I call my church, because I just won't touch it. It has all the flosses in it. All right. Can I turn this around? I can't turn it around. So this sits next to my needlework chair. But this is the DMC chest. It comes with all of the floss colors of DMC. I think it's the entire collection. Well, the top does open, but I'm not going to take everything off my top here. I'll just show you one of the drawers. It's beautifully made. These actually go on sale. Drawers are removable if you want to do a different way of storing or use the drawers for something else. I've seen some people, they take out all the floss and put the floss with their other collection. Then they take out the dividers and use that for fabrics, the drawers for fabrics, which is also a great idea. There's just that much storage space in that top drawer. There's another floss cone I have. Another tiny floss cone. This one is DMC 815. These are things I just found at a yard sale. I don't know if I have a sulky cone in here. No, it's another DMC. Another DMC. Color 500. Oh, I have cones everywhere. I do have some cones actually in the closet. And I also like to collect these little, I don't know what you call them. Just the glass candy dishes that people are using to hold their notions in and their scissors. They all have a lace edge. Because I do have a habit of collecting scissors. This one, I glued 2 pieces together with clear silicone because the bowl is just too short to be able to stick some longer scissors in. So I put a candle base on it. And same for this. I glued the base to a lace plate. So that was a different idea. And it gave it some height. I have lots of stamps. This is only some of my collection because I also do card making. I have some slat board in different sections. And then I have a sink. So I'll show you where I access. Let's see if we can do this properly. So I'm now standing at the top of my stairs. Ooh, let's not get sick. Okay. So this is the back part of my house. And then when you come up the stairs, here's the whole craft room. Packed to the hilt. I have a sink, so that's great for washing stuff. I do not, however, have a toilet or a hot plate up here. So if I'm banished for misbehaving or overspending, I can't live up here. My paper collection. Some of my punches. This is a spinning tower. Right here, filled with more stamps. This is my heat pump, which is heat and air conditioning. I have a dresser full of paper punches. I have a dresser full of binders and cross-stitch patterns. I have an arm of hoops. I also keep in a dresser underneath this shelf unit lots of hoops and frames. You see the hutch over here. It's filled with all kinds of stuff. I might have to do a different video to give everybody the full view of the craft room. It's kind of hard to do on an iPad. There's one clean space. I can't take credit. So that's some of the craft room. I did not clean up, so you get it in all of its terrible glory. And I think I've lost my cord, so I'm going to lose power if I don't plug you in. Here we go. Now, for craft glues, when I'm putting things together, I do use Tombow, and I use Eileen's Terrifically Tacky glue. Is that what it's called? Terrifically Tacky? Eileen's Tacky Glue. Those are all water soluble, very handy. And I use a hot glue gun, because sometimes I don't stitch the edges of my finished pieces to the pillow. If I'm using a pom-pom ribbon or something like that, I'll simply glue it, and it does work. It holds fine. Don't let anybody tell you different. The reason why I don't use pins or a lot of stitches, I have animals. I have a dog and a cat. Sometimes they see something that's threaded and they want to take it apart. Much easier to re-glue something than to deal with stitches that have come apart, if they should get a hold of it. Hasn't happened yet, but that's my wonderful paranoia brain when I have all these little paws in the house. What else did I wanted to say? Oh, I wanted to also say about framing. I mentioned framing in my first video and how expensive one of the frame pieces was in a Halloween design that I wanted to get. That was a local framer and a family-owned business. And I didn't have any coupons. So you can do okay at like a craft store, but you should get some education in framing itself. There are different types of glasses that you can get. So you can get a museum quality glass, which doesn't have a glare, and it's not going to have a reflection like my glasses do in a video. I don't have any examples, but I can get some from downstairs. I can show you. I did my Titanic under a museum quality glass, so you can take a picture of it and there's no glare. It's incredible. Or you can get just regular picture glass, which is definitely going to give you the glare on it. So you have to always ask questions when you say, oh, this is what I'm interested in framing, and they just give you a number. Can you do it without a mat board? Are they giving you a double mat? What kind of glass are they charging you for? And you can always ask them, is that the more affordable mat? Do you have any mats on sale? Are there any discounted frame choices? Have them total it up. And then you can take your estimate with that written description on it, if that's what you're happy with, and consider it. Just say, I'll have to get back to you about this, or I need to switch some money around to figure this out. That's part of getting an education, is asking questions. And that's what I did when I started to go to these different, whether it be a box craft store that was doing framing or a local framer. Just started asking questions so I could figure it all out for myself. I did end up buying a mat cutter for myself to see if I could frame my own with my own mats. That hasn't gone so well. I need a lot of space, and I haven't made any space in my craft room for that. A massive table space, but we'll see. I do have mat board for that. I also talked about mat board and foam board before, and some people don't know the difference between the two. Mat board is white core, but it's thinner. Let me go get some pieces. Should have some right here. So this is foam board. You can actually see there's foam in between what I would call 2 layers of poster board. When you are purchasing this, you should look for a sticker that says acid free. Most foam board is acid free. You can also get it with grid lines on it. Gosh, is that going to show up? There we go. Grid lines make it easier to cut and to measure. You can also buy it without grid lines. I save every little single piece because what if I want to do a little ornament or a miniature frame? You just don't know when it's going to come in handy. Now the mat board is simply mat board. I don't have a piece with me, but it's just the compressed cardboard piece that you would use in a picture frame. It comes in many colors. Most of it is white core. When you cut it, there's a white inside to it. Some of it isn't white core. Most all mat board is acid free, which is the best to use for your cross stitch. And I save all those little pieces too. And I could show you, next video I'll show you what I store it in, because I store it in under one of the eaves here in a big clear plastic bag that art students would use to carry their works. So handy, because it used to be I just kind of slid it in where I could find a spot. You can't pull it all out that way. It just didn't make any sense. But a clear bag tote is brilliant. Let me pause this, I'll go get it. So I have this on a wall that's not going to get direct sunlight. Sun's coming on either side, but not onto it. So this little guy I did from a very old magazine. I can probably look up which magazine. You might recognize it. I did finish this in 2016. Boy, see the glare? Not museum quality glass. But it's just a sweet little stitch. And it wasn't hard to frame. If you can get some poster board, if you can get some foam board or some mat board, the other great place to start with mat board is go to a framer or go to some of these big box stores and see if they have any mat board pieces or extras or mistakes. See if they'll give it to you for free. Then you can play around with it. A lot of us I know have done little things and are afraid to make a folded ornament, you know, the stand-up folds, or just, you know, make a ornament itself and pressing it together and doing 2 different things back to back. And sometimes just playing around with a little piece that you might have is helpful. If you have some scrap fabric, you can better visualize how it should look when you do it together. Like the back part, you can always make a little bigger if you're going to show the fabric more, or you can keep it the same size and just cover up the edges where they wed together. You know, they'll have a seam, and you can figure out what you want to cover on the edges. But experiment and try some things, and then you'll find out it's not so bad. It does take a while to get all the parts together. I have something over here that I'm trying to work on. This is left over from Valentine's Day. I did this cute little thing. This was a freebie from Cherry Hill Stitchery. I picked up this sweet little fabric to go with it. I think this was a discounted fabric I got from a fabric store. Now I need to find what I want to use as an edging. And then I have to decide how I want to design the pillow. So there's a lot that goes into finishing something off. And I have a couple of other tiny things over here. What the? Hello, winter. I did this on a scrap piece of fabric, loaded it up with beads, and I think I added some, that's silk, not metallics. So I really don't know what I want to do with this. I didn't iron the fabric first, so that's going to be tricky. I'll figure it out. And then there was this cutie. I wish I knew where this one came from. that I also added some beads to. Joy, hope, peace, wonder, believe. So I did one on an ivory and one on a white, just using some scrap fabric. I save every little piece of scrap fabric too, because I never know when I'm going to do a bookmark or an ornament, or if I want to play with a new stitch, but I don't want to use some of my good fabric. I don't really know a lot of different stitches, but if I come across one, I'll use a scrap piece to practice on. And there are a lot of different things you can do with these ornaments. You don't have to make it into a hanger. You could also use something like an easel. You can get miniature easels. I think these are cute at the craft store. And you can just set your design on it. Change them out if you're going to do a couple of little ones. Some of us aren't into pillows. I have a secret list of, or secret stack of drawers under here. I want to encourage you to collect cigar boxes when you can. My father happened to smoke cigars, so I have quite a few. They're great to stitch on too. I'm going to show you some things I did with scrap pieces of Ada. Just a quick little bookmark. These are great to stick into cards. Stick into cards or stick into books. If you're going to gift it to somebody. This is called plastic, perforated, well, is it not perforated plastic? Plastic canvas? No. Vinyl weave. It's not so common anymore, but you can still find it. Scraps. Edges of something. As I framed it, I decided to save the edging when I was cutting it to fit the frame. Different colors. This is actually plastic. So this is 14 count perforated plastic. I think I'm saying that right. So those are fun. Very lightweight, easy to ship. You can still buy bookmarks too. This was a kit. I just put an ironed backing on the back. Didn't feel like stitching anything. I have so many bookmarks. In this cigar box lives a bunch of bookmarks. And all of the pieces to make more. So that's a fun little treasure trove. So what else should we talk about? Oh, I wanted to mention some websites. There are two websites. One is the Crafty Grimalkin, and that is an old English word, I think, for female cat, if I remember correctly. She's a local Mainer here who has her own website. Her name is Teresa. She's got a really great website to use, thecraftygrimalkin.com. Did I get that right? Yes. And she's just got some great stuff on her website. She's got threads, charts, fabrics. It's worth a visit. I'm going to put a picture in the break here on the video so you can recognize it. You're going to see a cat when you see the Crafty Grimalkin. I'll also put the picture up so you have the correct spelling, but it's G-R-I-M, M as in M&M's, Grimalkin, Grimalkin. .com, the Crafty Grimalkin. And she's worth a visit. And then we have another one. You should go visit Penny at the Daily Stitcher. When you get to her website, thedailystitcher.com, you can do a search, The Daily Stitcher Maine. That's the best way for it to pop up quickly. There's a little girl sewing. I think it's a 1950s motif. She's wearing a dress and she's sitting there with a hoop sewing. And she has a really great website too. She sells the same stuff, but just a different slant of things. So you get great charts, great fabrics, and great floss. The Northwoods Stitcher at gmail.com. So I think what I'll do is when I bring up one of their items for a giveaway, we'll have some sort of secret code in the comments, and you can't say free chart or giveaway, or we'll have like a secret code word that we'll put in the comments, and then we'll have my email that we can figure out who won. I have a spinning wheel, an app on my phone, so I'll enter in everybody who's interested in what, and I'll hit the button, and maybe I'll do the live spin on the video so you guys can see you win. I think that'll be fun. And then I'll mail it out to you. So stay tuned for that. And if this video wasn't what you thought, let me know. Maybe I'll do some stills in my craft room. I know walking around with an iPad is not ideal. I'm not a YouTuber. This is my first go at it, so this is probably what, video number 4 or 5. I'm trying, guys, but let me know. Thanks so much. Take care. Have a great day. Happy stitching and be safe.